Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. We will begin in a few minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second ISCN virtual event of the summer. We are very happy that so many of you are joining us today to explore the topic of student engagement for sustainability, and that so many people from all around the globe are coming today to join us. I am Dario. I'm a master's student in development studies at the Graduate Institute in Geneva, and I am this year's ISCN student coordinator. Originally, it was the plan for me to facilitate student participation in the conference in Lausanne. Since we've had to postpone the conference to next year, I am all the more happy to welcome you to this webinar today. Together with the Student Review Committee and the wider ISCN team, especially Alfredo Caggi, we have prepared this webinar with an exciting program with great guests, and we look forward to engage in this topic with you while awaiting the physical conference of next year. The students are an essential part in every higher education institution, and youth has loudly called for climate action and sustainability lately. Education has a lasting effect on students' lives and careers, and higher education institutions are a key factor for innovation and social change. We as students want to ensure that sustainability is strongly anchored in every higher education institution. And our guests today are great examples of successful student engagement for sustainability. We look forward to an engaging event with our guests, which are Marie-Claire Graf at first with her keynote speech, and then followed by Q&A. After that, we will have a session by Sharina and Marijn from the Netherlands, also followed by a Q&A. At 4 p.m., this public event will end, and those of you who have signed up for the breakout session specifically will move over to a second Zoom meeting to explore the topic in smaller working groups. Before we go on to the program, I have a few remarks on the Zoom functionalities. Please raise your hand if you want to ask your question in person, then we can give you the floor. Otherwise, you're always muted and nobody can see your video. We will also have Q&As where you can add a question of yours in the Q&A toolbox at the bottom of your screen. You can also upvote questions from other participants. This will help us prioritize questions. Also, we will have polls. A poll will pop up on your screen where you can, within seconds, put in your answer, and we will see the result right away. This helps to give an impression of the room. And lastly, I recommend you to choose your view options to be side-by-side mode. You can see that on the top of your screen. Also, I want to thank everybody who has registered for this webinar and submitted a question. We have passed on the questions to our panelists, and hopefully a lot of them will be addressed today. Most questions were about how to engage and motivate students for sustainability, as well as best practice examples of student initiatives. In the word cloud, you can see what topics were asked. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Marie-Claire Graf. She is a Swiss youth advocate for sustainable development and climate action. She is the president of the Swiss Student Associations for Sustainability, the co-founder of the Sustainability Week Switzerland and Sustainability Week International, as well as the vice president of the think tank Swiss Youth for Climate. And she is also this year's Youngo Focal Point, which is the youth constituency to the UNFCCC. Marie-Claire Graf, thank you for joining us, and you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Dario, for the very warm welcome. Also from my side, a warm welcome to everyone. And thanks a lot for the ISCN organizers for the invitation, and also congratulations for the award ceremony 2 weeks ago. I will start the motivational keynote first to talk a little bit about myself as an example of a student who is actually taking efforts to accelerate climate action and sustainability in higher education. But then I will also show you some examples, as you already mentioned, on how students broader can engage with this topic, and also what are the key ingredients. I will talk about some learnings from my side, and then we will end my keynote speech by 3 questions through Zoom, as Dario already mentioned, and then we go to the open Q&A. Dario, you can change the slide. With the age of 8, I was hiking with my family to a glacier in Switzerland, and I couldn't really fully understand what was going on, but there were some information tables, and you could actually see how the glacier was declining. And I could also see that the distance between these information boards got bigger and bigger the closer we got to the glacier. It was a very horrific thought of me that the glacier are going back and maybe at one point wouldn't be there. Later on, I was reading a lot about it, and I learned that the oceans, as well as the cryosphere is the frozen world, for example, the glaciers, are sustaining us and are under pressure, and the changes affect all of our life. So I got very frustrated, angry, and even depressed. And I knew, yes, the time for action is here, but what do we need to do? I needed more information. So I was studying in this direction. I took some focus classes on it, and I read a lot of books and watched a lot of movies accordingly to understand what are the mechanisms behind it. I very quickly found out that not only in Switzerland the climate is changing, but it's changing all over the world, as you can see, for example, on my scarf, but also the background, which is actually showing the temperatures. The rise of the temperature. So blue is the cold temperature, whereas red is the higher temperature. So you can really see how the temperature is unfortunately going up. And I also read a lot about the implications on the fauna, flora, but also us as humanity and our whole system. As I'm also a teacher for secondary school, I try to break down this very complex and hard to grasp issue. And it's very easy to understand if you say that, for example, your boyfriend or your parents, they have already 1 degree of fever. And if almost all the doctors are saying that the temperature will actually go up on an average to +3, 4, 5, 6, or even more degrees, and this has actually serious implications, can even lead to an existential situation. I don't know about you, but I would panic. And our Earth is too precious to let it go. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it maybe sounds very naive, but my goal is to save our planet. And yeah, as mentioned, it's maybe visionary, but all the people I'm inspired of, they also had these big visions and big goals. And also, thanks God, I'm not alone. There are a lot of people like me who want to take action and really want to change something and save what we call is our home. To save our planet, we obviously have to stop polluting our nature. And of course, I can do this through my own lifestyle, my own habits. But also, I realize that we've gone too far. So we cannot only change it by incremental changes in our habits and lifestyle, but we also have to take action. So I decided to take unprecedented, bold, impactful, positive, meaningful, risky, and ambitious actions which are impacting the world far beyond my personal footprint in order to achieve the sustainable development in time, as you can see on the right side. So I will quickly talk about two different projects and success stories. And the first one is the Sustainability Week. I will talk about it afterwards in detail, but basically the Sustainability Week is a week organized by students with the aim to transform the higher education sector towards more sustainability. It started in Zurich in 2013, but then we got into the Swiss radio and television, and it spread very, very quickly all over Switzerland. And a lot of universities joined very quickly, and now we actually reach almost 100% of all students in Switzerland. And yeah, very quickly, this story got also spread internationally. We have been requested by the United Nations, by ministers, head of states, and other students around the world to support them on student engagement, sustainability in higher education, and even writing national education plans. So we were launching the Sustainability Week International, and yeah, we can proudly say that also due to COVID now, but we could already spread to 14 different countries within half a year, but now obviously due to COVID, everything is a little bit on hold, but we are using as well online tools to interact. But also I learned that we cannot change everything only through engagement at the higher education institutions because policies are made at different levels. So I engaged with an organization which is called Swiss Youth for Climate. There are similar organizations all over the world. And this organization is trying to engage the political sector towards more climate-friendly policies. And we do this on a national level, but also there's the international level. You might know the UNFCCC, which is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is basically the space at the United Nations which is dealing with the climate crisis and also came up with the Paris Agreement. Last year, there was the 25th conference, the annual gathering, where everyone came together in Madrid. I was mandated by the government of Switzerland and our presidents to be part of the official delegation and negotiate and deal with the topic, amongst other topics, on climate education. It was a big privilege that they acknowledged that a young person can actually be part of this change. So all of what I'm doing is really about scaling up because, as I've been mentioning in the beginning, they are really, really serious threats. So I try to connect different countries and try to engage all over the world. It's really, everything is about the urgency and the scale. I quickly want to highlight what different means we as students can use to effectively bring across our message. Obviously, there are conferences, meetings, but also in the international the United Nations, there are also negotiations where I get the platform where we can speak, but also all of you can really highlight this urgency and scale, which is underlining all of our actions and initiatives and policies. But also we can successfully use the media, social media, but also traditional media, the television, the radio, being in newspaper and so on, and talk about the different aspects of what we are aiming for. As already mentioned, politics plays a crucial role with what we want to achieve. Here on the picture, I met different presidents of Switzerland to convene the message of young people, of students, that we need more sustainability in higher education. Also very important, we cannot solve the crisis only by looking at one country. So I try to engage as much as I can with other countries, with other presidents, vice presidents, to tell them that what we as students want is really important and they have to listen to us. Because at the end, we can only achieve all these goals globally. That's also why I believe that the United Nations have a very crucial responsibility in all of this, as well as all the international network as the ISCN, to take this action and spread these good examples on the global level. As mentioned, next slide. As mentioned, I'm quickly talking about the Sustainability Week International as a good example of how students can engage and create a momentum of change, because I do believe that a momentum of change is really important, especially for students, to bring across the message. Next slide. So the goal of the Sustainability Week is to empower students to bring sustainability in all aspects of the higher education institutions globally. Different aspects would be education, research, the communication and the conversation, a dialogue with society, but also strategy and governance, but of course also the campus. Because we really believe that the students can be this major driver of change. Hence, it's also our aspiration that students worldwide turn their institutions into sustainability role models for society, business, and for all of us. We do this through 4 different areas of change, as we call them, through the local sustainability weeks. The local sustainability weeks have an aspect of mentor to act. So we do a lot of skill development and youth empowerment. We give them the needed tool to guide them through and build them that they actually have the motivation and capacity to be change makers. And all of this is leading to a local sustainability week. It's 1 week which is mostly happening in spring, in March. It's really a week full of motivation, information, which should inspire to take action. There are a lot of different events, panel discussions, but it can also be a presentation, excursion, workshops. But we also believe that we cannot only raise awareness, but also we really have to demand and propose solutions. So we have to engage the higher education institutions themselves to step up and take action. I think this is a very crucial role of students when we talk about how we can change our institutions. We have to be the ones who are demanding, but also proposing smart solutions, of course. And the last part is the encourage to change, that we need a network for support and cooperation. So we connect the students, but also the staff members and professors on a local level, but also on a citywide level, national, regional, and international level. I've been already mentioning quickly in the beginning that everything started here in Switzerland, where I'm also currently based. We are now active in 15 cities and engaging 34 different higher education institutions, depending on the country where you're coming from. This might sound very little, but Switzerland is not that big. So we actually reach approximately 96% of all higher education institution students in Switzerland. So it got really, really far. Also on this map, you can see our international expansion. The green countries there, we already have successfully organized the Sustainability Week this year. And in the orange ones, we are working on it, but COVID came across, so it might be a little bit harder. You might ask yourself, how can you engage? And here we listed all the different supporters. So obviously the students as the main drivers are absolutely crucial. Student networks, but also the higher education institution, if you're a professor or if you work at the higher education institution, but also the government, as already mentioned, are very crucial in this change. Also international organizations, as the United Nations, but also the NGO sector is really important for us as a speaker, but also to engage. Here you can see some logos of supporters we work with, but very crucial is that, we literally need everyone on board to make these changes happen. The Sustainability Week should really be a place where we all come together for sustainability, because we believe in the power and the potential of young people to co-create the solutions for the most pressing sustainability challenges of our time. We do believe that together we can mentor young people to act for more sustainability, that together we can inform citizens to inspire them for sustainability, to empower the higher education institutions to enable them for more sustainability, and we can encourage the community to be this change of behavior we need for the sustainability transformation. But also we do believe that we all can contribute and co-create a world with a future for all of us. As mentioned in the beginning, I will end with some learnings from my side. So the first one would be the clarity. I really think we have all our dreams, but it's really important that we have the clarity and the vision where we want to go, because nothing is more powerful than having a clear vision. But also having a commitment for action. I was really shocked that a lot of leaders around the world don't show any commitment, as we also can see now in this crisis. But we as young people can be these drivers and have this commitment for a real change. But also, obviously, we need the competences, and there is where the higher education institutions can give us a lot of good assets, learning about the different crises, but also learning a lot about the solutions. But also we need a lot of courage. And this is something I think which we not often learn at higher education institutions, but rather through engagements, as for example, the sustainability weeks, but also a lot of other engagements you're doing. Being bold, standing up and speaking up to make your vision come true. As already mentioned, the community is a very, very essential point. There are ups and downs, and not everything is going as planned, of course. So having a community which is supporting you is of utmost, is really crucial. But also, I would really encourage you that we are all human beings. So whenever you get the opportunity, speak up and try to engage with people as human beings. It makes it way more easier to really encourage them to change. If you reach the heart of people, they are very inclined to listen to you and also make you a favor. So I would like to end with a quote which supported me a lot, which is saying like shooting for the moon, and if you fail, you're still landing amongst the stars. So try to dream big and really reach for the full potential. And I really do believe that the 5 mentioned, I call them the 5 C's, can support you to be a student, to be a student who can really make a change at your higher education institutions for more sustainability and climate action. Sometimes we are in between this weird space of vision and reality, but yeah, at one point our vision, we are landing and our vision becomes reality, and with this we can all be champions of the earth. And I really hope that with my input you maybe feel a little bit more inspired and encouraged to take action. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me through international@sustainabilityweek-week.org, but you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or you can also find my name on all the mentioned channels. And now we go to the questions.
Thank you very much, Marie-Claire, for this great motivational input. I'm sure there's a lot of questions from the audience. Before we go over to those questions, we're going to have the first poll. So on your screen, you will now see a poll, and you can give your opinion on it. Please pay attention. Those are 3 questions. The first question is about in which area your university is performing strongest in terms of sustainability. The second is in which area you see the most potential for accelerating sustainability at your university. And the third question is, which obstacles for meaningful student engagement have you come across most when working in this area? I can see the answers coming in. We'll have a few more seconds. Okay, thank you everybody for filling in the poll. I will share the results with you now. Okay, so education and campus operations seem to be the focus areas of the universities that you are coming from. And not that surprisingly, education is also where you believe is the most impactful area to take action. And the obstacles you see are a lack of awareness for sustainability matters as the biggest obstacle. So this clearly has to do with motivating and engaging, getting people to feel the importance of this matter. Great, thank you so much. And we will now move over to the Q&A questions. Sorry. I can't seem to open the Q&A questions. Sorry for that.
Otherwise, I can start with the first question I see.
Yes, please do that.
While you're finding the Q&A. So someone was asking when the Sustainability Week is going to take place and how you can collaborate. So the Sustainability Weeks are normally taking place in March and April and September and October. But also now to COVID, we're obviously flexible and how you can collaborate. On the screen, you have been seeing the email address, also the website, and the best is just to reach out. There is also a form on the website. You can just simply sign up, and then we will reach out to you with an advisor which is supporting you to set up the Sustainability Weeks.
Thank you. Yes. For you, what are the strategies that are most effective for promoting sustainability to students, Marie-Claire?
So I think creating a momentum is really great, especially to reach students who are not yet engaged. So it's easy to reach the students who already are committed to sustainability with an event, but if you really create this university-wide momentum with, for example, Sustainability Week, I think yeah, you can really reach literally everyone. For example, if you have posters in the canteen, but also when you enter the university, there is already something which raises awareness on sustainability, but also having a program where people can get inspired. So I suggest for a big, broad reach to organize something. It doesn't have to be a sustainability week, but something with this character of a momentum.
There were a lot of questions about how to handle the COVID situations looking at this issue. So how can you keep students engaged for sustainability whilst having to handle a pandemic at the same time and working more virtually and not being able to meet in person?
Yeah, I think, we experience it now with also this conference, which would have happened in person, but now is happening online. So for me, the very positive aspect of having a lot of meetings now online is that actually it's way more inclusive. So everyone can literally join when you have a stable internet connection. But also I do think that we have to not only do webinars as we are doing, but also interactive workshops as we are doing afterwards, but also having, for example, social get-togethers. We have last week been doing a cooking together or having in the evening coming together and really don't talk about work, but having engagement. And also having games together online, to really have this fun aspect as well. And there are a lot of tools now which we can use, especially also for free. So yeah, use these tools. I think it's a good strategy. Also, some sustainability weeks actually could manage to do their whole content online.
Yeah. We have a couple of raised hands. I will give the floor to one of the people. Deepak, Kaira, I will allow you to talk. Please ask your questions to Marie-Claire.
I guess you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I think something is not working with Deepra. Let's try someone else then. Pranav Kumar. Okay, yeah. This doesn't seem to work.
Otherwise, just type the question, then we can.
Yes, let's keep sticking to the questions that are in the Q&A tool. What's your take on the correlation between economic development and sustainable development?
Well, I mean, I would say that that the economic part is very important, but that we are currently measuring it wrong. So we are currently have wrong incentives for economic development, which are very often against the planet and are heavily polluting the planet instead of being here and supporting us. So if we manage also through education and raising awareness to have an inclusive, sustainable economic development, economic growth, I think this is something brilliant. And within maybe the correlation that we for also protecting the planet and also having a sustainable economic development, we need to have educated people. So we need people like all of you who understand the problems and bringing all these global issues and challenges into the current discussion, also of politicians, but also in the private sector, that they can change accordingly.
Thank you very much, Marie-Claire. Unfortunately, we have to move on to stay according to schedule. But as you've mentioned in your presentation, you're happy to receive also questions through email or through all the channels mentioned.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So again, these are the channels Marie-Claire is able to be reached. We will now move on to another prime example of student empowerment, which are the green teams at TU Delft in the Netherlands. These are decentral student teams working on sustainability in their respective faculties. Here to represent the concept are Sharina and Marijn. Sharina is a master's student in mechanical engineering and part of the very first so-called green team at TU Delft. She is now the green team coordinator at the green office of TU Delft, and therefore currently setting up more of those teams across campus. Marijn van Steen is a master student in industrial design engineering, the chair of Green TU, and the former student representative in the student council, where she put sustainability on the agenda on a university-wide level. Marijn and Sharina, I give you the floor. I stop sharing. And welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having us. Sharina will share our presentation, so sometimes I will say, please click. Don't be distracted by that. Marie-Claire, thank you for your very inspiring presentation. I want to let you know that you're definitely not alone in this, and we can make your dreams come true together. So like Dario said, my name is Marijn, and together with Sharina, I will be telling you a bit about our work at TU Delft. Yeah, next slide, please. First, we will give you a bit of background information of the university, and then a bit of background information of the green office that we work for. Sharina will then enlighten you about the concept of green teams, and at the end there's room for Q&A, and for those of you who signed up, we will also give the workshop. But first, we have a poll prepared for you as well. Can I open this? How does this work? You should be, failed to launch polling, okay. I don't know if, it doesn't seem to work. Okay.
The poll was in screen for me.
It
so
was?
I think it, yeah, so I think it works.
Yeah, okay. Now
I see people voting now.
Yes, there are the results coming in. Great. Yeah, so as you can see, we are wondering how your university or institution is tackling sustainability within their organization, basically. quite evenly spread over the answers. I'll give it a bit more time. Yeah, the results seem to be quite steady now. Thank you all for voting. You said that most of you have at least a green office or sustainability department or student organizations working on it. That's really great. Those are also the two things that we will be talking about. And 5% is not working on sustainability yet, but there's possibilities there. So we will hopefully inspire also that 5% today. Okay, then I think we can move on. Thank you for sharing this with us. So a little bit about TU Delft. It's the biggest technical university within the Netherlands, and we have nearly 25,000 students. And in the Netherlands, most universities are completely funded by the government, which is not different in Delft. We have 8 faculties with all their own variety in programs, different locations, because we have a few joint degrees, sometimes even programs in different cities, together with other universities. And all these faculties really have their own independent organizational structure, which makes it really difficult to navigate through this bureaucratic system sometimes. And because of these different programs and this different structure, they also all really have their own attitude towards sustainability and how they want to tackle that, how they want to integrate it in their education, if they want to integrate it at all. But there's one thing that they have in common, and that's what we call the Delft way, which means that they really like it when students come up with things themselves, and they like it when things are cheap. Let's be honest, we are Dutch. We like to save some money wherever we can. Those two factors are actually really important in the way that we started integrating sustainability at TU Delft. To start off with, we have a lot of student-led organizations, which really differ from target and structure as well. But the most important one is Green TU is the most integrated into the university, where since we are officially the green office of the university, but we also have a lot of specific teams. For example, the Delft University Wind Turbine team, which is really a team focusing on innovating themselves and innovating the concept of the wind turbine. But we also have more student focused organizations, such as Students for Sustainability. And sometimes there's even a theme which the organization evolves around, like the food sharing team. They once a month they come together and they pick up leftover food from all sorts of grocery stores all over town, and they cook a meal together with all the leftover food. This way we have all these different teams working on all these different things, but all have this common goal of making Delft a bit more sustainable. Next slide, please. And then about us, the Green Office. Maybe first, good for those of you who don't know, the Green Office is the sustainability department of the university. And in Delft, we are in the quite unique position where our entire Green Office is run by students. So there's no professor helping us. There's a few support staff, but they do it on the side, and it's more for logistical things. But the 6 of us really do it together. And what is also really nice about it is that we actually got student assistant positions, which means that we actually get paid to make the university more sustainable. And because we are these 6 students who do this, we really, but are also employees, we really see ourselves as the bridge between the students and the university to make that connection between those two. Recently, we restructured the Green Office in Delft, and resulting in more direct lines with the executive board, the big bosses of the university, so to say. We expanded our team, in which the Green Team Coordinator is a new role. Sharina will undoubtedly tell you more about that. And we got more support from staff. Yeah, next slide, please. We envision sustainability into Delft to be integrated into 4 pillars. The operational side, obviously. We think the university should really set an example there and show that all of this is possible, because especially within a technical university, so much innovation is going on, and we should be able to show that to the world to see how that's going, and that it can be done. But then on the other hand, this education also, within education, this should also be covered, because our students are the engineers of tomorrow, and they should be able to tackle these worldwide issues. So they should have at least a basic grammar to understand what's going on and to make well thought through choices. The third pillar we have is communication, because like I said, a lot is going on, but how do we make sure that everyone knows what's going on, and how do we inspire people? So that's via communication. We recently made a new website in which, and the university shows way better what they're doing on sustainability, so to be more transparent about that as well. And the last pillar is research. This can be either the research towards leading towards those sustainability innovations, but it could also be how sustainable the lab work actually is going. Yes, next slide, please. The biggest achievements we had in the past year since our restructuring are that we now have a waste separation pilot. Unfortunately, of course, our university is not open right now, but at least the bins are placed. So we're going to separate our waste. And we also had, right before the pandemic, the No Meat Week, in which we, for an entire week, didn't serve any meat in the cafeteria at the university, or for a specific faculty, because it was a pilot. But this was super successful, and a lot of students and staff said that they really enjoyed it. So next year they're gonna make it even bigger and have a No Meat Week on the entire campus. So that was a really big success. And we have a yearly Day of Sustainability Symposium, in which we also try to create a dialogue between students and staff of the university, but also with relevant stakeholders from within society. And last year the theme was "Let action be your reaction." And then Sharina will tell you a bit more about Green Teams.
Yes, thank you, Marijn. So as Dario already introduced, I'm currently the very first ever Green Teams coordinator of the TU Delft. And I have the honor to set up new Green Teams and coordinate the current ones. And now, of course, you're wondering, what is a Green Team? So explain this to you, I want to take you back to the very beginning. It all started with 5 years ago with 2 students. And they were of the opinion that sustainability was not well enough integrated into their own faculty. And when I say not well enough, I think it's fair to say not at all. And the reason why we're talking about this today is because the theme of this webinar is student engagement. And we think this is the perfect example of student engagement and the power and the impact students can have if they simply act and if they simply try out their ideas. So what happened? They actually started very structured. So they wanted to integrate sustainability into their education. And they started to make this inventory report to see what is the current state of sustainable integration. And they did this by looking into courses, but also by interviewing staff members, students, but also companies. And in this way, they had a very clear idea of to make a plan of attack, so where they could best integrate sustainability. So after this inventory report, the team expanded, and over here you also see me. This was of course before I was the Green Teams coordinator, because it didn't exist yet, and it actually didn't even have the name Green Teams then. But what we do? We took matters in own hands, and we wrote an own sustainable mechanical engineering guide to give students some assessment and design methods to design in a more sustainable manner, because mechanical engineers also make a lot of products. And if they have knowledge to design more sustainable, then we can actually make a change. What we also did is that we gave lectures, and this is of course very exceptional, because students usually don't give lectures. We asked them to teach students a bit more about sustainability, but they didn't have staff members who actually could do that. So we thought ourselves about sustainability, and then we taught the students again about sustainability, which was a lot of fun, and students really enjoyed it. What we also did is that we made a video on eco-design. Again, this was to help the students learn how they could design in a more sustainable way. And for this, the team was even rewarded by being in the top 100 young sustainable pioneers of the Netherlands, which of course is very special for us. 3 years after this team started, a new team emerged at the Faculty of Architecture, and where the previous team actually is a very good example of how you can integrate sustainability in education. This team really shows how you can do that on an operational level. Over here you see a recycle stand they made. So what they do at architecture, they make a lot of scale models, and then they have wood left at the end of the project. And these students, they saw that and they decided, okay, we can gather this wood in a stand, and then the next project can pick this up and use this wood again. So this was a very nice idea, and it works very well. So with this teams, we actually recognize a problem and a solution at the same time. So as Marijn already told you, the faculties differ a lot in our university, both in structures, but also in amount of students and in their opinion towards sustainability. And not everything is a central opportunity or challenge. As you see, for architecture, it works very well together to get the wood into these recycle stands, but a mathematical student doesn't have wood left at the end of their projects. So this really was something that could happen on a decentral level. And so with this, we saw a solution immediately to have these decentral green office-like structures at every faculty, which will be bottom-up and student-based, because the students know best how their faculty works and not central people from the top. And it will be centrally coordinated and based on these existing principles that already have shown to work and to have added value. So we proposed this to the executive board and to all the deans of the university and all the directors of education. And we said we want these decentral teams, which we now call green teams. We want a central coordinator for that, which will be part of the Green TU board. And we want budget for it, and we want it to be student-based. And in this way, the university can achieve the goals they set, because they have very ambitious goals themselves, and the faculty also have very ambitious goals. And we just told them we have a very cheap and easy solution for you, and we will solve that, and we will only need €4,000 per faculty. And with that, we also take away the pressure from staff, because for a university, this is always very important aspect. It's not all money, but the staff is very busy already, so we took this on ourselves. And it will be tailor-made because it's done by the people who know their faculty. It will be integrated in a far more meaningful way. And it will be centrally coordinated, meaning that we can prevent double work being done and also support collaboration. So we did propose that, and yes, this is something I also wanted to tell. The TU Delft has a very nice quote from climate vision to climate action. And what they want to say with that is that we want to be past the discussion on whether sustainability is important or not. We want to go to the action. So during my year as Green Teams coordinator, but also during my 1.5 year in the Green Team, I have actually never ever told anyone or tried to convince anyone that sustainability is important. I have always just said the university has goals, and we have a very good solution to solve that. And it's hard for people to disagree with that, actually. So we showed this to the executive board, deans, everyone, and they were all enthusiastic. And as you can see, so were we. So then, since everyone wanted the green team at all their faculties, we had to get to work. This is our plan. We divided that in 3 phases: the explore phase, the change phase, and the embed phase. So during the explore phase, you start recruiting your team members and you assess the current state and make a plan of action. During the change phase, you execute this plan of action and really try to make some change into your faculty. And in the last embed phase, you really try to integrate this team into the organizational structure of the university and make it normal. So that is what we did. We currently have the teams all set, and they wrote this nice inventory report. This is an example of the green team of aerospace engineering. And they also divided the report into the 4 pillars Marijn has shown you. So education, operations, research, and communication. And they also made a plan of attack. Well, this is what change looks like. This is our university magazines, and we have been very big on the front page. Green teams expanding rapidly across campus. And this was actually very important for us to get this recognition and to have people know that we exist. And that the people who are working on this are fellow students. They're very close. It's not someone somewhere central far away. It's just a fellow student, and you might even know this person. And maybe more importantly, you can be this person. So other change, as I've shown, the guide and the recycle stand, and hopefully much more will follow once the COVID crisis is a bit more less intense. And we are currently transitioning to the embed phase. And here we work on executing this plan of attack. We are working on organizational integration of these green teams, the relation between the green office and the green teams, but also future payment, because we find it very important they are recognized for their work, and staff involvement. We really like students to be the basis of this, and they can do very important work, but the staff was so excited that we really want to have them more integrated into the teams and really support the students and work together. So I hope this gives you a bit of an idea what students can actually achieve. We achieved so much this year, these past 5 years, by simply trying and doing, and it's really incredible. And we hope you can also do this. And we hope to have shown you that it's very important for an efficient integration to make differences between central and decentral problems and opportunities. And for future help and context, please send Marijn or me a message on LinkedIn or whatever. We would love to hear your questions, or even if you have a nice update, we would also love to hear it. And you can also send an email to greentu@tudelft.nl. And with that, I would like to end. Thanks, and good luck with all your nice projects.
Thank you very much, Marijn and Charina. Please stay on a little bit for the questions. Yeah, I was really excited when I learned about your green teams and the way your university really includes the students in sustainability work and governance, and even acknowledges that by paying some of that work. So we have a lot of questions that have come in. The first question is, do you think that students who are engaged in local sustainability projects and communities have a professional or other advantage compared to their peers?
Marijn, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I think by showing that you are committed to something and want to make a change, and by being involved with your community, that's always a professional advantage, because it shows you care.
Yeah, I must also say that I've learned so much during these past few years in presenting, but also about sustainability. And I learned a crazy amount of how companies work, because a university is still a company, and how these relations are. So I think professionally, it's very beneficial to work on this. Also because sustainability is a profession, and it can just be your job later on.
And even if it's not your job, you can integrate it into your job.
I hope so, yes.
Change.
Thank you. how can universities support and facilitate student support, engagement and action? What do you think, maybe believe on a more general level, but also at your university, apart from, maybe financial reimbursement?
I think with the green teams right now, so there's a team at every faculty that is very close to you, that you already inspire students to be engaged in this. If the fellow students ask, do you come to this event of mine, or do you come to this company days they organize, which is very relevant for them, they are already more involved in it than when it's a central organization, I think.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, working with the university, how closely do you work together with university staff and academic staff, and how independently do you work in the decentral green teams?
Marijn, do you want to take the first part of the question?
Yeah, because we within the green office, we work really close together with a lot of employees. For the operation part, there's within every department a person who our operations coordinator can address. So she has a lot of meetings with them. For example, in the campus real estate department. But even I, who don't have like a specific portfolio, talk to employees just to see how it's going, and to my own professors to see if they can do something and if they want to do something, and where they think that opportunities lay. And then Sharina can maybe.
Yeah, so for the decentral teams, for the green teams, we asked to have a supervisor from the faculty, which is a staff member, to take care of the fact that it's also the same as their vision and that they have a support base. And it's also important that the staff members let the other staff members know that they exist and that that person supports the green team. So that if they, for example, send an email, that the staff member can go by their office and say, okay, can you please respond to this email? This green team is doing nice work. So this staff integration is definitely going on, but the team still really works on their own. They create their own content and they organize the events.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think there's a lot of also academic and sustainability staff listening, so that's also very relevant to them, I believe. Emily asked, she says she likes how you didn't try to convince people, but explained that you were helping the university reach their goals. What would be the first step, your first steps, if your university did not have any of those ambitious green goals?
Yeah. Sorry, you go.
I was in the student council, which is the official representation of all students towards the board. And there, I think channels like that are a really good way, because if you are in a representative position, you can show that people actually care about this. So one thing that we did was organize a survey, and then 89% of the respondents said that they cared about sustainability and thought the university should act. And even if it's not those crazy high numbers, still it helped creating this, maybe also this momentum, and this helped in laying the foundations and showing, okay, but at least our students care about this. Maybe we should care about this too. And what also really helped there was to point out that as a university, you have this responsibility towards society to set the right example. And if you don't do it, then how can you expect society to do it? So that was also a really strong argument, which helped us in those earlier stages. Yeah.
And I think if you have this survey, then you can show that to your university. Okay, you don't have goals yourself, but the students really want this. And higher educational institution does have to do something with that. So then you can still offer to solve that problem for them. And you always have to know that you are very cheap and very easy solution for your university, so that they might still agree on that. But I agree that's a bit harder if your university doesn't have these goals, but you can still try to find them, because they know they have something, so they should do something with that.
And otherwise you could also still occupy a building.
You didn't have that from us.
Thank you both very much for presenting the green teams here to the ISCN community. I'm sure it has been very inspirational for many of the in the audience. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up here. For those of you who have signed up for the breakout sessions, you have gotten an email with the link for the breakout session. So please join us there, and we'll go deeper into the topic and work on a worksheet. For everyone else, thank you very much for joining. This has not been the last event of the ISCN this summer. We have the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking on the 24th of June. The ISCN Working Group on the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking will present this session and ask the question, is the ranking a catalyzer towards more sustainability in universities? Again, I want to thank all the guests and participants today for coming and sharing their stories. I would also like to thank Alfredo Kegi for all the support preparing and planning this event. It has certainly not been easy, but very nice, and very nice how it turned out. We value your feedback a lot. So please, after you leave the session, you will be forwarded to a Google Sheet where you can give us just a few answers about how you liked this webinar or what you would improve on it. So we very much appreciate your feedback on that. And yeah, thank you for joining, and keep pushing for sustainability.